Hello lovely people, it's Victoria. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I just realized I forgot to wash my hair when I was in the shower just now, even though I told myself I was going to earlier. Because I put avocado oil in it, so my hair's all greasy, and yeah, I mentioned I have a giant rat's nest in the back of it, and I don't really know what to do about that, so yay. So I wanted to continue with my filming kick, so this is actually the third video that I am filming for today, and it's actually something that I have had on my list for a long time, and I meant to do like a year ago. It is a continuation of my random childhood memories video, and it's talking about my high school memories. So these are just like my high school memories that live in my head rent free a lot and that come up, especially with me finishing up the writing for my EP. I have a certain amount that I really want to finish in a pretty short amount of time. I think it might be helpful to just kind of like talk through some of these like random things that kind of stick out in my head as I sip my virgin beverage. I consume a lot of LaCroix. I have smoked quite a bit of marijuana, so we're gonna see what the vibe is for this video. You might want to watch it on like 1.5 speed or something. I tend to talk kind of slow. I speed up my own videos when I watch them back. It's also almost exactly 11 o'clock at night, and I do want to go to sleep soon, but I really want to film, have like a little late night slumber party vibe, and just tell like random stories from my high school years. So some of these will have actually happened in school, and then other things are just like outside of school, but when I was high school age. Don't know if that was implied. A lot of these are like kind of not negative, but yeah, either like kind of cringy or embarrassing, or I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I'm gonna try to go in order, but I just thought of what I need to add to the list. So I had a definite kind of depressive phase around 8th grade, 9th grade. I was going through a lot mentally. I was like really not comfortable with my body. I wanted to lose weight, but it was hard for me to maintain motivation to like work out and stuff because exercise was not empowering for me. So I like struggled with my self-esteem and like body image a lot, and I ate really irregularly, had kind of probably some kind of eating disorder. You think of like the stereotypical goth kids and like what they listen to of like the emo and whatever. I wasn't super into that yet, but I was really into like Demi Lovato, and she was in her whole recovery mental health journey, and I just like internalized it in this kind of really toxic way. But it, like, I don't know, I just thought of it as this glamorous thing to like be mentally ill or something. So I just like really leaned into depression, which was already there, but like it was, I guess, kind of self-aggrandizing. I don't know, because like I was a 13-year-old kid, so like I was in that sort of phase, and I kind of started experimenting with self-harm, and it was a dark time, and I was going through a lot like with my family. There was just like, I was kind of just in a lot of turmoil around 13, 14 years old. That kind of helps me be a little easier on myself about this, but this is a habit I had that I look back and I'm kind of is that I always made really weird faces in photos, even if other people weren't. Like I was usually that person that would make like that, like the goofy face, even when other people were genuinely smiling. And I think I was insecure about being seen as like boring or a wet blanket or something. And I sometimes overcompensated by like trying to prove that I could be funny, like trying to be the funny one, even in like school assignments and stuff, in times where it like wasn't appropriate. We will get to that. And I think I was just uncomfortable, especially once I was like getting new into hanging out with like a regular friend group, and yeah, wanting to not just had a lot of insecurities in my head about like wanting to seem fun and whatever, and so just compensating of always being goofy. And I literally have homecoming photos that my parents paid for, and I took with like a group of friends that I had made that night, and everyone is smiling, and I'm doing like, I don't know, just like an extension of the sense of performance I guess I felt like I always had. Also freshman year, because that was my freshman homecoming, that I got those pictures. Right before my freshman year, I went to church camp, and that was a whole thing. I'm gonna most likely make a video about my church camp experience. I went twice, and I have so many stories. I think I've mentioned that I grew up Christian, not like super strict Christian, fortunately. enough to go to church camp. And I was baptized twice too, fun fact. My relationship with God now is like a whole other freaking soap opera in and of itself that I might make a video about, but we'll see. There's also another guy that I flirted with at church camp. Anyway, church camp, I interacted with this dude once and got his number, and then later on when we had gone home, I was texting him for probably like a week or like 10 days, and then we started saying we were in love with each other, and just back and forth we were talking about like going to Paris and yelling out that we love each other because I was watching The Hunchback of Notre Dame too. It was just so freaking cringe. And my best friend at the time was also in love with her partner. Sorry, my freaking scalp has like a scab on it. I deal with like dry scalp and I scratch and I get like little cuts and stuff. It's not super fun. Then when I get my hair dyed and it feels like fire ants are on it, and that's amazing. So my best friend at the time was also in love with like her partner, and I remember one day in gym class we were talking about like we're both in love, and like I didn't think I was actually in love, but I loved the idea of being in love, and I was 14. But it took me a while before I was able to actually like be with somebody that I had a crush on, like an actual crush on, and was like actually attracted to outside of the fact that they were attracted to me. That took me a second. We were talking in gym class and we were saying it to my friend said to someone else of like, she and I are both in love. And I think I asked her, I was like, have you ever been in love? Like, are you in love? And they were just like, no, I haven't. And it was bizarre. I mean, that was like right after I went through that phase where I was making YouTube videos asking Harry Styles to go out with me when I was 13 and he was 18. So, and then freshman year in health class, I just remembered this super friggin', I was just so angsty in health class whenever we were talking about mental health or whatever. I just had such main character syndrome and I was so just angsty. And I remember we were talking about like suicide and whatever. And I was like, I was bullied for 5 years and it's so annoying when people have zero tolerance policies because they saw things happen for 5 years and blah, and like just whining and stuff. And I just clearly made the vibe so uncomfortable. And I look back and I'm like, but I did have a moment where I wrote a song inspired by addiction and with my best friend at the time, and people really liked that, and that was like a cool thing. It was very sad. It's called Temporary Happiness. Yeah. This video is probably gonna be shorter than I thought it was gonna be, but yeah, we're just doing like a quick fire thing. Jump ahead to sophomore year. I had gotten out of my shell a little bit when I got the titular role in a school musical, and on one of the performances my grandparents came to see me, my paternal grandparents, who have both since passed away, and who I love very much. They were wonderful people and wonderful grandparents. And my friend Alex, for some reason I was like, I want you to meet my grandparents, and we're like friendly, and he was really supportive of the YouTube videos I was making at the time and stuff. And I introduced him to I was like, these are my grandparents and these are my parents. And then both my grandparents just kind of like stood there and just were like, and Alex was just kind of standing there like, and then my dad cuts in and is like, great job, pal, you did great. And I was like, thank you. There was just that awkward silence. And that's more of a happy memory. That's like a sweet kind of thing. But at the time I was like, oh, that's awkward. A few months after that, I had my first boyfriend. And on my first date, fun fact, my first date was seeing Inside Out. And I look back on it kind of embarrassed because we were in like the upper left corner of the theater, so not a ton of people were seeing this, but we literally just like made out the entire movie because I had just had my first kiss like a few weeks earlier, and I was just like obsessed with making out with this dude, and he was like the first dude that I had a crush on, and then that liked me back, and then like wanted to be my boyfriend. It was just that thing, and I thought that he was my first love. It was like the first person I thought I was in love with. It was just like insane infatuation. But I think sometimes about how uncomfortable some of the people around us looked. And I was like kissing his neck and shit. And I was just so fucking insane. And this was a kid's movie. And I was like, at least we were up in the upper corner, so it wasn't like so obvious to a ton of people. But I was just, I hate it. I hate it. And just how like not caring I was at the time. I was just so fucking thirsty, and I literally like at one point made eye contact with a child while I was doing this, and I was like, oh my god, I hate it. Oh my god, I hate it. I'm literally like traumatized by my former self. Oh my god, wait. Okay, I got out of order for a second, but then that relationship, that was like a summer romance situation, and then as soon as school was starting, then things started getting a little tense and weird. By the fall, things got really messy and very just stereotypical high school drama. But at one point, a really fucking cringy thing I did is I manipulated my teacher to let me get out of class to hand deliver this note to another teacher, because my chemistry teacher was really into these inside jokes, and he had this kind of inside joke relationship with my boyfriend's teacher, and I knew, where he was for this period. And so I like orchestrated this situation where I would deliver this note with this inside joke to this teacher in order to have this like funny moment, and it would just be a bit, because this teacher was like very into bits, and both of them really were like very much characters and very into bits and things like that. And so I just like it was good. It made sense, and so I was able to do that. And fuck, and I came into this dude's class like in the middle of a lecture, and then just like walked away. And I don't know how to feel. Like, I feel like that's normal, right? Like, I feel like that's the kind of thing that Girl Defined would, like, try to shame somebody for. Like, you're guy obsessed, okay? You need to leave room for Jesus. And then, basically, we ended up breaking up for a few reasons. Basically, one of the main ones that I would hope he would agree with, because it was super true, is that he was emotionally cheating on me with his very close friend, and he was like hanging out with her in the morning to like talk about things that he couldn't tell me about. And yeah, and then he like didn't fully trust me, and I'm pretty sure he literally said that he trusted her more than me. It was really weird. And so we broke up, and then it was just this whole debacle. Like, I was a wreck, and I was making all my friends so tired of me. They were so tired of hearing about it. And they were kind of mutual friends because we were all in choir. It was like such choir drama. And then I ended up unintentionally being super emotionally manipulative. Like, I wasn't trying to be, but I was, on multiple occasions. One, when I asked if he wouldn't date anybody until I was over him, which is so fucking insane to say to someone. Like, I literally did not even realize how bonkers that is. When he basically said no, then I like had a panic attack and told a friend that I was considering self-harm, like not considering, but like contemplating it, not planning on doing it, but thinking about it. And then they ended up calling an ambulance on me, and I got taken in for a psych eval. Like, psychiatrists in the emergency room and my parents are telling me, like, this relationship is not good for you. Like, even as exes, as friends, whatever, like, you should not associate with this person. Like, and also my dad was calling out this other girl that he was like emotionally cheating with that I thought was my friend. And he was like, she is not your friend. She's not your friend. Some shit is going on, and this is toxic, and you're literally like thinking about hurting yourself, and you're in the fucking hospital right now. Like, it was really, really bad. And then he wanted to like take a break, take a week off, and then I did. Then I called him out for his just complete emotional distance, and then he was just like not wanting to talk about anything, just totally shutting down. And then I was super emotionally manipulative again when I was doing a musical, and then it was like talked about that he was going to be added into the musical as like a backup something, and I just said like, you can do whatever you want, but I would appreciate it if you didn't do that, just because like theater is my safe space or whatever. And again, that's like super entitled. I just look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ, Victoria. Like, I just had such main character syndrome. It was actually crazy. I just like said the quiet part out loud like way too often. And then his freaking female best friend had like some valid points when she was calling me out for it, of like, you don't get to control what he does. But then she was really bitchy, and she was like, you guys were barely together, blah blah. And it's like, bitch, you don't know what that meant. Like, he said he loved me. He said he loved me first. Like, he was fucking, shut up. Like, she was saying like, you guys were barely together. Even to this day, fuck you. I'm not gonna say I was gonna say her first name. I'm not gonna say her first name. Yeah, so I got mad at that and the wording, and so I think I called her a bitch or something, or saying she was being bitchy, and then she must have fucking tattled to my ex, because then he was messaging me like, don't call my friend a bitch. I care about my friends. I'm going to stand up for my friends, blah, blah, blah. I thought he'd been understanding about the thing that I said. And he was like, I mean, I feel like you infiltrate the safe space when we're in choir together and stuff like that. And then I was like, you know what? Yeah, like you can do whatever you want. I just wanted to let you know. Then later on, it was just like, this was so selfish of you and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, why didn't you say any of this at the time? And he's like, because I didn't want to be an asshole. And I'm like, okay, so you're being an asshole now? Great. I love I'm recounting this like fucking 10-year-old drama with my first relationship. But that was like so intense for me. Like that was so transformative. And it was kind of traumatic because it kind of inadvertently, or I guess sort of advertently, caused the dissolution of a friend group of mine. Like I really kind of drifted away from my friend group, and then I ended up getting closer to the person that is my best friend and has been for 10 years, almost 10 years. I've known her for 10 years. We've been best friends for like 9.5 years. But I started getting a little closer to her after that because just the drama of everything. I kind of like pushed away a lot of people, and my friends were like talking about me behind my back, and I just felt like they weren't really I don't know. I just didn't, yeah, it just felt weird. So it was just sad. I was really sad about one person in particular because I had been close friends with her since like 8th grade. Like I've been friends with her since 6th grade, like known her since 6th grade. And then we got closer, yeah, like 8th grade because we were in drama club and stuff. Like, so we just had a history. So honestly, it does make me sad still to this day. And I've sent her messages and stuff and was like, I apologize for the way I was immature during that time. And I don't know if she's read it. She has never responded. But I did something really fucking stupid with that friend in particular. Is I literally like baited her into replying to me on Twitter, and then just like literally said, like, when you realize that at person, I literally added her and baited her into responding to me, and then was like, when a backstabber responds to you and I did like the fucking Kermit emoji because I thought I was so trendy at the time. But I ended up like just snapping about the fact that I had known that my friends had just been like talking shit about me for like months. I think at that point, oh yeah, I knew that I'd been told that after I had been hospitalized with the psych eval situation, one of the few people that knew about it was my best friend at the time. And I found out months later from other people that apparently immediately after that happened, she and the person that called the ambulance on me were literally going around and just telling anyone who would listen, just like, did you hear about Victoria getting sent to the hospital, da da da. Then would immediately be like, oh, never mind, it's whatever. It like didn't elaborate, but just blurted it out to random people, just like in choir, just outside the choir room. Don't know how true that is, but it tracked for me. So I just went off, and honestly, I think I was right, because I just went off and I was like, I know what y'all have been saying. I think I mainly kept it to my ex-boyfriend, but just like all this shit, I was like, I know everything that you've been saying. I know everything you said. So like, I think they heard that loud and clear because they never fucking responded. She never responded. She never said anything. And I look back and I'm like, okay, it was really unfair the way that I baited her into that, but the points were valid. But the way I handled it was super, super immature. The girl that was my best friend at that point and still is now was like, God damn it, Victoria. She's like, when she saw my tweets, she's like, fuck. She's just seen me at my worst, dude. Like my most just like insane behavior. And it's just like, bruh. Oh my God. She's like the John Legend to my Chrissy Teigen. And that is not going to be the last time that I randomly start drama on social media with someone for basically no fucking reason at all. Stay tuned. It is 12:45 a.m. right now, and I just smoked a little more weed and ate some Cheez-Its, and we are feeling the slumber party vibes. I'm about halfway through my little bullet point list. I really want to finish this video tonight because I have work and stuff tomorrow, and yeah, I want to get at least a decent chunk of it done. And this is funsies. I think this is good for me. So the next little bit is senior year. So senior year is when I really got into my red pill phase. And I think I've mentioned this in another video. I think when I was talking about the Brooke Schofield situation with the racist tweets. I went through like a serious red pill phase where I thought I was like center right. I thought I was like low-key a men's rights activist for a second. I didn't identify with being a feminist. I'm like, I'm not a feminist, I'm an egalitarian. I was like a kind of police sympathizer, and I would have voted for Trump if I was able to vote. And I was like anti, like, just, I was just very conservative. And I was born and raised in Arizona, and that did have a little bit to do with it, but also just like culture of my family, and also the content I was consuming at that time. And also there was like the time where I was exploring like different mindsets, because I wouldn't have said that I discriminated against people based on like race or anything. And I'd always been pro like LGBT plus, and then I just come out of the closet. So I guess I just like rationalized in my head of how I wasn't like bigoted, but I was like espousing a lot of like kind of like a little bit misinformation of, I don't know, I would use these statistics of like the men are raped at a higher percentage in prisons than women, and not accounting for the different factors of like why that would be. I don't know. I would just regurgitate a lot of the content I was watching. What was it? It was like Hunter Avallone and freaking like Paul Joseph Watson and Ben Shapiro. Oh my god, I would actually like watch Ben Shapiro shit. Oh, so, and I wanted to like talk about it, and then I would like make an issue about it. I remember one time in government class in the 2016 election season, where I forget what the website was called, but we're going over this website that would show you like what candidate your views align the most with. And I just wanted an excuse to talk about my opinions and be freaking edgy, I guess. And then I said a bunch of shit about, you know, pro-life accepting cases of rape or incest, and which I don't believe at all anymore now. Things about like immigration and like the I think the Muslim ban was happening at that time, or the travel ban, and I was like supportive of that. And then like when I didn't get the reaction I wanted, I like started a conversation with a friend about like, I feel like this was a weird reaction, blah blah blah, and I was trying to like bait them to validate me, but they didn't. And then I got like offended about it, and then I did the same thing in another freaking class and ended up like freaking raising my voice at these girls that didn't want to talk about abortion, but I just wanted to defend it. I was just projecting so hard. It was just like so intense. And then the thing where I wanted to prove myself to be the funny one at inappropriate times continued in that government class, because we had a thing where we were doing like a mock campaign for president, and I was pretending to run for president. And for this freaking assignment, like in my speech, I kind of was going satirical with it, and I was kind of going jokey, and I was like, on the Victoria side we have cookies, and like internet fucking humor. And I don't know, in a way I was satirical of like, I'm literally better than all the other people in every way. And I kind of do like that I had that line in there, but I didn't take it seriously. And then also I didn't adequately prepare my freaking position, because my whole thing was I was arguing that affirmative action like isn't okay, and I had my friend defend this argument for me, and we like didn't prepare our argument well enough, and I wasn't prepared for a question, and it was one of those things that someone pointed out what I could have said afterwards. And then my thing with wanting to start shit though continued, because I really like, I had such bad senioritis, and I had a lot going on. It's not a great excuse, because like, you know, everyone does, but like I always had something to prove in my own head. I just wanted to be like, I'm so over everything, and I'm so irreverent, and I just don't care, and I'm not afraid to call people out, and I'm not afraid to just be, I just like was an edgelord basically by my senior year. And I remember being in creative writing class, and these girls saying that this other girl on her Instagram had apparently said that she was prettier than her mom, or said some like super self-absorbed thing. And I didn't even actually see it myself, but I just took it upon myself to comment something on her Instagram about how like she's so full of herself because all she has posted the same selfie over and over again, or something like that. Or I don't even think it was because of the same self. I think I just called her like self-absorbed. And then of course like all her friends got on me and were like, she's just confident. Like, why are you so miserable and blah, blah. And I thought I was like the victim somehow. Hello, I am back, like 2 days later. And I also thought of something. I remembered something that actually happened my junior year, and it was a complete asshole moment of mine that I'm going to just put myself on blast for, because I think about this all the time and I'm like, that was so gross. Is I went to this theater festival and I did a solo musical performance. I sang Don't Rain on My Parade, the Glee Rachel version. But I had this falling out with my friends group, and I felt kind of alone, and I felt really awkward in this situation because like I was just surrounded by people that weren't my friends anymore, so I didn't feel like I had a lot of theater friends anymore. So I just felt a little isolated. And then the dude right before me was really, really good, and everyone was like completely enamored with him. You can tell everyone was just like in love with him. And then one of the judges said like, "Oh, don't be nervous." And then I got this whole complex about like, why would you assume I'm nervous? Like, I'm fucking fine. And I just got like really all in my head and whatever. And so then I just ended up taking it out. She didn't know, but I ended up taking it out on this poor girl that was just doing her performance, minding her own business. She didn't do anything to me, and she was off key. And I literally just like recorded her performance, and then just later on after the whole thing, I just pointed it out to someone. I don't know why. I just brought it up out of nowhere. I was like, oh, I was before my performance, this girl, and she was so off key, was actually insane. I recorded it. Do you want to hear it? And someone was like, oh no, like I'm good. And I realized, I was like, oh, this isn't cute. And I look back, I'm like, that was so ugly. Like, that was just such a fucking mean girl moment of mine. Ugh. Part of me is like, why am I putting this on the internet? But I feel like I have just this like attachment to the past. I feel like it's almost healing for me to just kind of like talk out these things that I think of. So, oh, holy shit. Also, wait, okay, another add-on. This is not something I did. This is something that was done to me. And it also has to do with my grandparents. This is some fuckery that my dad pulled on me when I was 15 years old with my first boyfriend. He wasn't officially my boyfriend yet, but it was the first time that he had come over. And obviously I had to like have my bedroom door open and stuff. My dad meets this guy. This is like the summer between my sophomore and junior year of high school. My dad meets this guy and literally says, "Oh, you look like my dad." And gets a photo of my grandparents and brings it back to this dude to show him how much he looks like my grandfather. Like, and he wanted this interaction to go well. Like, he didn't even realize the extent to which he was cock blocking me. Like, I wasn't trying to have sex. I was 15 years old. But, like, he wanted this to go well for me, but he's like, let me show you a picture of my fucking father. And I think about that sometimes. I'm like, what the hell was that? And I have not given him enough shit for doing that to me. So I was really bitter, as you could tell. Junior, senior years, when I just really got super bitter, and I was just kind of mean. Like, I was just so depressed, and I was just taking it out on people, and I was really isolating, and I did really rash, endangering things. Like, I had this episode where I took a bunch of Advil PM, and I didn't really want to kill myself, but I didn't really care. It was like a whole thing. But anyway, I was in a really bad place, and so I think I talked about, so I had commented on this girl's Instagram, and then her friends like got mad at me and were defending her, and I just kind of was like, okay, I'm sorry I said this, now leave me alone, and was acting kind of like the victim. And then her friends were like, nah, we hold grudges around here, whatever. And then it kind of just died out, but I could tell that people were like talking about me, and I literally just like completely brought this on myself. And then with saying things that didn't even need to be said, but then also weren't super flattering, but in like a different way, I would have this thing where I would sometimes, when I would just be riffing or I would be trying to make a point, I would just like say things that weren't actually true. And then sometimes it would actually be like embarrassing, and I'd be like, this is literally embarrassing and it's not even true. Like, why the fuck did I say that? Like, I was trying to make this point about like cultural norms, especially around modesty, surrounding a book we were reading. And I just made this example that wasn't even true. I said, like, in my Native American tribe, because I'm Native American, it's normal for women to not wear tops or something like that. That's not true of my Native American tribe. I'm sure it is of a lot of different cultures, but it wasn't of mine. And I just like made that up because I thought it sounded, and it was like so awkward in the room. And I was like, I just made this awkward for no fucking reason because I thought I was going to add this legitimacy to my point. Then another, like, this is more of like a happy, funny thing that happened, but my senior year of high school, I reconnected with a guy that had been a senior when I was a freshman. So looking back, it's kind of questionable because I was 17 and he was like 20, maybe even 21. And we like hung out and we ended up kissing. But he was like going through this whole journey with his sexuality. And so we just had this moment where like we were kissing a little bit and he was saying that I was pretty and all this. And then he goes, I actually think I am gay. So I was the turning point in someone's discovery of their sexuality. So in a way, I felt honored. And I think about that. So, like, there was just such a sitcom moment. Okay, so 2 little embarrassing moments. One is when the mannequin challenge was a huge trend on, I think it was like Instagram or something. I don't know. Because TikTok hadn't really like popped off yet. It was a thing, but it was like just starting. But the whole thing was the mannequin challenge. And I was a freaking grandma and I didn't really know. For some reason, I thought that someone needed to move. I didn't realize that like literally everyone needs to stay still the entire time. I like had thought I heard something different about what it was. And so this girl's filming this mannequin challenge in this dance class that I was in at school and everyone's all still. And then I, for some reason, thought I needed to move and I like moved. She like looked at me like, bitch, if we have to refilm this because of you. And we didn't refilm it, but that's such a minute thing. But I was just like, I was such a like a grandma that I didn't know actually what the mannequin challenge was. And I just thought I needed to like do the opposite. And instead of asking anyone, I just like did it. It was so silly. So another embarrassing moment, this was like minor looking back, but this mentally destroyed me in the moment. So my senior year of high school, that October, I just gotten out of like a relationship with the dude that did not deserve me. And I got this like huge crush on this dude that was so fucking cute. And he was so smart and he like wanted to go to Harvard and he was in like AP classes and he like, we just had the vibe and he liked me too. And nothing ended up happening with us. We never ended up kissing or anything. I actually look back at how I reacted to him not wanting to kiss me and I'm kind of like, girl, you were like boundary stomping low key, not pushy, but like I could have taken no for an answer a little bit more. I look back, I'm like, ooh, that's kind of not okay. But there was this day that we like school had just ended and we were kind of going to our after school locations. He was going to a classroom to for like tutoring and kind of office hours, and I had a Scholastic Bowl tournament because I was on the Scholastic Bowl team, which is basically like trivia, like quiz bowl. I loved it so much. That was like one of my favorite things I did in high school. And I don't know what it was I needed to say to him, but I wanted to say something else, or there was something I wanted to like ask him or something that I had been like wanting to have the courage. And then for some reason I went back after we had parted ways. I went back into this classroom that he was in. And he was like working on a problem on something on the whiteboard. And I like walked in, stood, realized how crazy that I felt and just turned and walked away. And I just prayed to God that he did not see that I went back in there. And I don't know if he did, but I just went into a bathroom stall and like basically was like, holy shit. Like I was just spiraling so hard. And then I had like 10 minutes of free time before I had to go get on a bus to go to another school for this freaking tournament and like answer questions and be able to focus. And I was just like completely spinning out. But that was really funny though. But like in the time I was like, oh my God. And I forget what I wanted to say, but I was just like, I look fucking insane. Get out, abort. It was just, I had like a complete abort mission moment. And then speaking of Scholastic Bowl, there was this moment at certain points during the tournament, I forget when it was, I think it was like bonus questions or something. But it was the format where the team could like deliberate and then submit an answer and the captain of the team would submit the answer. And there was a question about the CCC and I like guessed WPA and I just kind of like impulsively answered for the team. And then the captain of the team was like, I'm the captain. And I got so pissed at her in my head about that. I think because like there was a moment, I think a few months prior to that, where in a Scholastic Bowl meeting, I had expressed concern for a friend of mine who is in the IB program because she really didn't sleep a lot and she took caffeine pills and she didn't really eat a lot. And she also, I think, like chewed nicotine gum as well. Which like didn't like judge her for any of these things. I was just like concerned because yeah, she really didn't seem to like get a lot of sleep. I remember I spent Black Friday with her, and it was like 5 a.m. and she was dropping me off, and she was saying she was gonna like go to the gym and then do homework and just have like a full day, and she wasn't planning on going to sleep. And I was just kind of like, oh, like okay, yeah, like have a good day, like whatever. But I was just kind of like, that's a little that had been like a few months earlier, so yeah, things had just built up, and we were having a meeting about like pressures of the IB program because so many people on the team were in the IB program, and just like the amount of homework and the lack of self-care and just all these things. And so I brought it up, and I was like, I'm not fully in the program. I just like took a few classes in it, but was like, I have a friend who's fully in it. I'm really concerned about her. And I just kind of described her behavior, and I just didn't realize how obvious it was who I was talking about. But like, it is kind of naive because this girl and I were like very obviously friends. And so this girl, like the captain of my section, like we had little teams within the team, different levels. The captain of my level deduced who I was talking about and told her. And then that friend of mine said she didn't want to be friends with me anymore. And then I had that reckless self-endangerment episode, which, was on me. That was just my brain. And we're okay now. We're chill. But yeah, so I had bias towards that team captain in my head for that reason. And so I look back on that and I was like, that actually was reasonable. I'm going to say I look back a lot because later on in college, I was on the like officer board of a literary journal. I was a senior poetry editor. And I remember this meeting that I was supposed to be leading. I was leading this meeting. I was just making the editorial decisions for the poetry submissions. And someone had asked a question about like what qualified as something else, just a clarifying thing. And this girl that I had classes with, stuff like that, and been in this creative writing program with her, we'd done a lot of the same things. We'd like been in this certain creative writing program, and we were on the poetry path. We did a lot of poetry, like creative writing classes. She went on for, I'm not kidding, almost 5 minutes answering this question, and I just could not stop her. I didn't stop her. I let her go on for way longer. I didn't know how to stop her, and that was a big moment for me about like taking control of a meeting, because I imagine that people were probably wishing that I would have saved them from listening to her continue to talk, just go on and on and on. But I look back at that, I'm like, you know what? That was kind of like, I respect the fact she did that. Like, she really just kind of put me in my place a little bit of like, hey, I'm the captain. So I was like, oh, you know what? It's fine. And then lastly, I want to end on a funny one. This is like the result of me being a heathen, I guess, is, okay, so I'm a huge fan of Nothing More, the band. I have not covered any of their songs on this channel, which is kind of surprising, but I'm a huge fan of them. My senior year, I was at this science fair. We called it the STEM Expo, but I was competing in that, and I was just like on Twitter, whatever, and I had just started listening to Thrice. I just started getting into their album. Oh my god, I forget what it's called, but it's the one with the wave on the cover. To Be Everywhere is to Be Nowhere. Very good album. And I forget what song it was, but there is a song that starts with a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands, and I recognized it as the opening line from Jenny by Nothing More, and I immediately jumped to Thrice ripped off Nothing More, not realizing that it was a Bible verse. And I called my mom, because my mom was raised in a super religious household and was expected to like memorize the Bible as a child. It was like a whole thing. And I told her I noticed this, and she like didn't pick it up either. She was like, oh my god, yeah, I think they did copy it, but whatever. So I tweeted Nothing More being like, just so you know, I think Thrice copied a lyric off you guys. And they explained to me, they're like, no, actually, like, it's a Bible verse. It's okay. And I was just like, I was so like embarrassed. And then later on, I don't know, I get like so granular about shit. Later on, when I saw Nothing More for the first time, and then freaking Dan like put his bass out into the crowd, and then I just like grabbed onto it I was worried I grabbed onto it for too long. Like just anxiety. It's just anxiety. Hello, it's me coming at you like over 2 months after I filmed this video because I thought of a thing that I didn't include, even though I'm pretty sure it was on the list. But basically, my sophomore year of high school, I was doing a gig at a children's hospital, and it was in this lounge, but also it was being filmed and basically like live streamed to pretty much every TV in the hospital to whoever like went on this certain channel. And God, I get so phlegmy whenever I'm filming, god damn it. Basically, I thought in my little 15-year-old brain that it would be a good idea to play Follow Your Arrow by Casey Musgraves, which is not a super inappropriate song, but it's definitely not G-rated. It's fair to say that it's not super appropriate for 4 or 5-year-olds. And I didn't realize that until I started singing it, and I was like, fuck, this is not an appropriate song, but the show must go on. And so I was just like, let's just see if we can get away with this. And so I kept going because I didn't want to stop. My dad, who brought me to the gig, literally had to come up in the middle of me singing this song and cut me off and whisper in my ear, like, you have to stop singing this song right now because they're saying it's not appropriate. And I had to pivot in the moment to something else. So that was embarrassing in the moment, but it's really cute looking back. So I did it. So those are the rest of the random ass fucking anecdotes from high school that live in my mind rent free, and I'm trying to exercise a little bit. So it was mostly like embarrassing things or awkward moments that just kind of stick in my mind, or moments that I was just like really randomly mean or just super cringe, or like funny, kind of charming, silly, happy, sort of embarrassing type moments. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. I am getting back into filming videos more often, but I also do need to work on my freaking music for Pride and my record. But I also just I don't know, I'm in a content mood, so we're gonna see. I need to try to make a plan, but I hope you guys have a lovely day, and I will see you next time.